Hey guys, welcome back to Blaydes and Confused. Today we're going to be breaking down and reacting to the UFC Fight Night, Curtis Blaydes versus Chris Dawkis. Now this was a very good night of fights. Very nice to see the UFC travelling internationally again. This fight night took place in Columbus in the States, which is cool. So the UFC have had two back-to-back international fights in London and now in Columbus, so it's good to see the UFC getting back on track. But kicking off the main card, we had Mark Griffin versus Vyacheslav Borshev. Now this was a great fight from Mark Griffin, very good game plan. He came in there and completely dominated Vyacheslav in the grappling department, got several takedowns on him throughout the fight, and was able to remain on top guard for majority of the rounds during the fight. So very good game plan from Mark, very impressive performance. Good to see him back in the win column. You know, he called out Drew Dober from this fight, which is a good call out. Hopefully he can get it maybe on the UFC London card when they return. You know, if we look at Vyacheslav, he was a very highly praised prospect in the lightweight division. He was 6-1. He was on a finishing streak, had a lot of KOs, a lot of submissions, so it looked like he could have been the next best thing in the lightweight division, and Mark Griffin completely shut the hype down. He was a huge underdog coming into this fight, so he completely schooled Vyacheslav, and just an all-round great performance from Mark. Happy to see him back in the win column. But the next fight on the card was Magni versus Max Griffin. Now this was a big opportunity for Max Griffin. He was unranked coming into this fight, taking on a number 9 Magni. So this was a big opportunity for Max to come in, steal Magni's thunder, get a top tier name in the division, and propel himself into the top 5, top 6 of welterweights. Unfortunately, Magni was able to stop him in his tracks, got a split decision win. Now this was a very competitive fight. All 3 rounds were very close. I scored it 2-1 Magni. I think his volume and his pressure and his takedown at the end really secured the win for me. He was stringing his punches together and doing way more combinations and strikes than Max. Max was just landing a one and done kind of strike, just praying for the knockout. But Magni was able to string his punches together and deliver a great fight. Should have got fight of the night, as well as obviously the Matt Brown and Brian Barbarina one. But we'll get to that amazing fight. But yeah, just a great fight from both men. I'm excited to see Magni finally get a big name in the welterweight division. I know the last time he got Michael Chiesa, he did come up short, but he's on a win streak now. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He beat Jeff Neal, he's beat Max Griffin. Give the dude a big name, give him a Wonder Boy, give him a Bilal or a Luque. Get him into that top 5 because he deserves it. He's got the most octagon time in the welterweight division now, surpassing GSP. He's got the most wins in the welterweight division, surpassing GSP. So, no, he's a GOAT in his own way. He's very experienced in the division. But moving on to the next fight, we had Askar Askarov versus Kai Kara-France. Now this was a huge fight for the flyweight division, had massive title implications. The winner of this fight was meant to get the winner of the Figueiredo Marino fight, and boy did Kai deliver, because Kai got the unanimous decision win over an undefeated Russian savage in Askar Askarov. He was able to land the cleanest strikes, almost put him away at one point. His takedown defense was amazing. His offense, defense, just a very well-rounded, very durable, tough fighter. And it's good to see Kai get on a bit of a win streak. He's now got wins over Rogério Bontorin, Cody Garbrandt, and now Askar Askarov. So this is a huge win for his career, to take the O off a prospect in Askar who had tons of hype and momentum. People were saying he was a future flyweight champion. Kai took all of that, but still a great performance from Askarov. Also, he's got very good wrestling, but to me, he just needs to tune up his striking. His striking is very good. If he utilised it more, I think he could have hurt Kai more. I just think he needs to tune that up, put some more volume out there. I think his striking is a lot better than he thinks, and I think if he just let his hands go, he could have even got the stoppage on Kai, in my opinion. But great win from Kai. Happy to see him get the next title shot. I know Deveson has called him out on Twitter and wants that over the Marino 4 fight, but I don't think the UFC will let that happen. But moving on to the next fight, we had Matt Brown versus Bryan Barbarina. Now this was a big moment for Matt Brown because he's a Columbus fighter, so this is a big win for his hometown. Unfortunately, Bryan took it from him, but it was a very close, competitive fight. All 3 rounds were very close. Both men had each other hurt on several occasions, could have put each other away at any second during the fight. Both guys are very stylistically fun to watch. They always put on great performances, always looking for the knockout or the finish in some capacity. I can see why the judges scored Bryan Barbarina, but honestly, in my opinion, it could have gone either way. I think you could have had it 2-1 Matt Brown, you could have had it 2-1 Bryan Barbarina. It could have, yeah, very close fight. Let me know what you guys had it in the comment section. I mean, I personally thought Matt Brown won it because he got that takedown in the last round, so I thought that maybe that would have paid dividends, and was also landing several takedowns throughout the fight. So it's kind of baffling to me that they gave Bryan this win and then Asgard didn't. So it's a bit confusing, the judges scoring, but great performance from Matt. He's 41 years old and he's still putting on performances like this, so all the respect in the world to him. He's a great fighter in the welterweight division. In a very competitive division, he still holds up, still holds his own. So hopefully he can get back on his winning ways, and we'll see what's next with Bryan Barbarina. But moving on to the co-main event, we had Joanne Wood versus Alexa Grasso. Now this was another big fight in their division, in the flyweight division. Alexa Grasso looking to move from, I believe, number 11 to number 8. So she got a huge submission win over Joanne Wood in the very first round, so disposed of her pretty easily. Very unfortunate for Joanne Wood. Really wanted to see her get the victory. You know, like I've always said, she's always one fight away from a title shot, in my opinion. So to see her go on this skid is very unfortunate. As I say, she's a very entertaining fighter to watch. Always puts on a great show, and she was really starting to get into her own in this fight. But unfortunately for Joanne, the younger, hungrier flyweights are starting to catch up to her and starting to make a statement. Yeah, I think it's a very tough spot for Joanne to be in, because I think the UFC will continue to give her, young up-and-coming savages like Alexa. So it's going to be tough to see how she holds up, whether she does hang them up, but I hope not. But as I say, very competitive division right now. All these fighters want to make a statement to Shevchenko and just sort of prove to her that she's not only the best female fighter in the division. I'm excited to see what's next for Alexa. She's got some big wins now. She's got wins over Macy Barber and now Joanne Wood, so this puts her in a very nice position to maybe get the top 6, top 5 of the division, and only, she's perhaps only one fight away from a title shot at this point. So she's an excited fighter, good jiu-jitsu, good striking, so it'd be interesting to see the more she develops, how she would hold up against Shevchenko. Not saying that she would beat her, but in due time maybe she'll develop her skills and sort of get that level of respect that she needs from Shevchenko to be a worthy contender for her. But moving on to the main event, we had Curtis Blaydes versus Chris Dawkis. Now this was a very dominant performance from Curtis Blaydes. Zero wrestling needed. Knocked Curtis Blaydes out cold in the second round. Caught him coming in with a vicious left hook, sent him straight to the ground, followed by some nasty ground and pound. So big win for Curtis Blaydes, extends him to a 2-fight win streak, keeps him in the top 4 end of the division, and getting those matchups that he wants, as in, Gan, Tuivasa, maybe even Aspinall. So he's got some big names still to fight in the division, still some fresh blood. He's a very experienced heavyweight. He's been in there with the very best. He's been in there with Ngannou. He's been in there with JDS. He's been in there with Volkov. So it'll be interesting to see who the UFC matchup with him next. You could do, as I say, you could do Blaydes versus Gan, you could do Blaydes versus Stipe, Blaydes versus Aspinall, Tuivasa. There's tons of names in the heavyweight division right now. The top 5, even top 6, is very elite and very competitive, so I'm excited for Curtis Blaydes, and not just him, obviously all the other heavyweights that he's got ahead and behind him looking to make a statement. Now this is a shame for Chris Dawkis. You know, he's lost back to back now to 2 elite heavyweights in Derek Lewis and Curtis Blaydes. So in my opinion, he's still got the striking. His striking's very crisp, very good. He just needs more experience in the division. If he can work his way back up, maybe fight a guy like Sergey Pavlovich. Maybe that might be a bit too soon, but just maybe even Sergey Spivak. Get some names on his resume, broaden his skill set, his experience, work his way back up to the top, and I think he's more than capable. As I say, he's just got to work on his defense. We haven't really seen too much of his grappling, or maybe implement his grappling. I know his brother, Kyle Dawkis, my bad guys, is a black belt in jiu-jitsu and is coming off a huge submission win. So maybe if he can utilise his grappling in his next fights, I think that would definitely be helpful. You know, he's taken a lot of damage in his last 2 performances, and he has got clipped quite a few times in his previous fights. So, as I say, still a good fighter in my opinion. But he just needs that, experience and that caliber of skill set. But very good night of fights. Hope you guys really enjoyed the card. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for another UFC video dropping shortly. It's an epic fight announcement that I cannot wait to talk about and share with you guys. So as I say, stay tuned, stay blazed, and peace.